The idea, of course, to create horns, also to create musical instruments. I'm going to be holding a pan flute workshop here later in the season. And we'll be using bamboo from local sources, not just here, but from outside a few places. And if you want to come and learn to make a pan flute, welcome to sign up for that class. Tonight, we have the great fortune of having with us Madame Moth, who is in her illuminated cocoon, experiencing various trance states. In her installation and performance, Laurie Wiedenhammer will embody a psychic medium called Madame Moth, appearing in an illuminated cocoon. She will enter into a trance state with the help of a soundtrack she listens to, created from fortunes from a vintage scale and 19th century recipes. Moths have eaten away at the memory of Madame Moth as she struggles to channel her own past. Now, Laurie Wiedenhammer is a performance artist, originally from Saskatchewan. She's been associate here with the MOP Garden for several years. And she's collaborated with Peter Kortmansch, who we'll be talking about again later, and works as a food security volunteer and activist with colleagues and students of all ages on identifying native plants, eating locally, gardening for pollinators, and guerrilla gardening. She's also, you may have encountered her here before, as the Queen Bee, and a character called Madame D Speaker.
You have a power of swaying people in your presence, but you meet your master sometimes in the opposite sex. You are inclined to be extravagant, people know this, and often impose upon you for that reason. You have religious tendencies that you hide from your close friends. You're very conscientious in your business affairs.
Its propensity is to grow very fast when you cut it off to a stump, and that's called pollarding. When you cut something off the ground, that's called coppicing, and that's what we do with we pollard these willows, but we also coppice some of them at the ground up in one of those beds. And there are, past that, this next row of trees, those are hazels, and we coppice those at the ground every 6 years to make sticks, or staves, which is a practice we've been doing as a people for more than 6,000 years. Only recently have we stopped. Well, sort of stopped. Slowed down. Let's call it slowed down. I'm an instrument maker. I may have bragged about that earlier. So this for me is the first year I've ever personally coppiced a tree, and that's the one. It's my fault. I cut it. It was that tall because these two were planted at the same time. So that's what it did look like. This is what it does look like. And this is all brand new growth, and you can see from out of the chopped tree, there's the top of the stump. And I have an expectation of that more than doubling in size before the end of the season. And hopefully, people will respect the little surround around it and not damage it, because it's quite fragile at this point in time. But those new pieces are quite naturally hollow, and they will harden off into proper wood, which can be quickly harvested and carefully split in half, carved out, resealed, and made into trumpets. You can read this here. This is called the illuminated shroom. It is a large tree fungus that has become savvy about science. It is inspired by the notion of wind clocks and alternate scales of time. It perceives the wind as a variable force that blows during the daytime and goes quiet at night. Thus, each day has a different length in wind time, and each night the shroom has an opportunity to stop and reflect on the day. The shroom is a solar-powered creature that monitors and records the wind during the daytime, and at night it uses its findings to create a pattern of light. It needs to get dark enough for us to see this, but a pattern of light played back on amber LEDs, which you can just make out if you look up inside of there. Connected to the Time Inventors Cabinet project at Okno in Brussels, the shroom also sends its wind data to the internet. So I encourage you to get in closer and see the underneath, because this hides it to some degree, but we're on till 10, so you might want to do the tour twice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't have any idea about that. Peter, the guy there, Peter, where's Peter?
Naomi Singers and Peter Kortmansch have collaborated to do, I think they're called light-headed lanterns. In a workshop with the community, participants created head-shaped lanterns using tissue paper, petals, twigs, and natural materials from the MOP garden. Oh look, it's Naomi Singer herself! Yay! Once completed, the new lanterns were outfitted with solar technology, and this is the inside of each of the heads, which are inside of this tent to create artificial darkness, by the way, since strangely it's extremely light this time of night, this time of year. Lightheaded is a solar-powered lantern project that plays on the concept of personal illumination. 10 head-shaped portrait lanterns will invoke the eureka moment we hope to inspire regarding the conversation between art and science. A head lit from within is inspired. It contains spirit. It holds an idea. And when we put our heads together, anything is possible. Now, that's a piece of bamboo. I love this. You'll notice the light goes on, light goes on, light goes on, light goes on.